Now I can't say why I thought this, but for some reason I thought this face brush was going to be a little bit more like the ones that you see at the store, you know, Walmart. But this one has a better size to it, has a very smooth surface. So it just feels a little bit more substantial. What really knocked my socks off was how you charge it though. So this thing has no cords obviously, but you don't have to change out the batteries. You simply put this little cord here onto here, and it starts charging. Now you charge it overnight, and the next morning, say about 10 hours later, some of us sleep more than others, so the next morning you take it off, and probably about 2-3 months later you might want to charge it again. It's that easy. So if you don't have a lot of outlets in your bathroom, don't worry. Again, you only have to charge this like every couple of months practically, depending really, honestly, the real measurement of how often you have to charge it depends on how often you use it, how much you use it. But I would say per average, using it 2 minutes a day, probably 2 to 3 months. Okay, so now I have been using this for a couple of days and already my skin feels softer, which surprises me because honestly, this doesn't feel like it's doing anything. It really doesn't. And so today I'm actually going to do a test just to see cleansing wise. But my skin as I aged has stopped sloughing off so much, and maybe that's why it's starting to feel softer. Maybe somehow this is getting some of the skin off, though I don't know how because it's so gentle. But I'm going to go ahead and wash one side the old-fashioned way of just rubbing it with my hand the way I used to do it, and one side with this, and you'll see it doesn't spin, it simply vibrates. And so subtly, I bet the camera doesn't even really see much. So we're not getting a lot of scrubbing here. My hand feels like it would have done more. Such good English skills, I know. Okay, so. And you don't want to press too hard because you don't want to slow the motor down. Obviously, it's not going to be able to do well if you stop it up with pressure. So just rest it on your skin, moving it around. Now it beeps to let you know to move on to the next section. You start with your forehead, then you go to your T-zone, and then you do each cheek. Now I'm not really going into perfect cycle because I am in fact doing half a face. But that's what the beeping is, to remind you to move on. And then I saved this little piece and I just rest it here and put it on the counter again. Okay, I feel like I rinsed both sides equally. I'm going to go dry my face and then get a cotton swab with some witch hazel and rub on both sides. Right side first. Left side. Oh, a little bit cleaner. Most importantly though, I do feel like my skin is feeling a little softer, and I think that would be because maybe there's less dead skin on the surface. I don't know. Really, honestly, like I said, it doesn't feel like when you're putting it on your skin, you're like, maybe I should push harder because I don't feel much. But you got to resist that first of all. And second of all, even though it doesn't feel like it's doing something, my skin seems to think it is. So I did a lot of reading on whether this would be a good idea to start with before I even got it. And they do actually say that yes, they are beneficial for the skin, but only if used in moderation. So that's something to keep in mind. If you plan on using this 5 times a day, you're probably actually going to do more harm than good. But if used in small bits, like, you know, a minute a day without pushing on your face, it's actually good for your skin. So it's all in moderation. And that's, again, just what my reading led me to believe. So that's why I went ahead and got it. And pretty happy. So I hope that gives you a good idea of what you are getting. It's a nice, very solid feeling machine here. It has the timer, just like the just like the automatic toothbrushes, to let you know it's time to move on. And it has the coolest charging. I'm sorry, the charging is what I love, because you know I don't have to worry about it for quite some time, so I can wrap that charger up and put it under my sink and not even have to look at it until, you know, a month or two later. Awesome. So I hope that helps you, and you have a good day.